Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans, and thanks for joining me on this Thursday. I'd like to bring you said information pertaining to rapper DMX. As most of you know, he is in the hospital on life support, and I tried to find the latest information that I could find, and I'm hoping that it is accurate due to the grave condition of Mr. Earl Simmons. The U.S. Sun is my first source. This was uploaded April 8th. Okay. Rapper DMX will undergo brain tests today after suffering multiple heart attacks. It states that 50-year-old Earl Simmons is said to be in a vegetative state on life support after suffering 3 heart attacks during a drug overdose last Friday, according to reports. But I want to make this clear. I still don't have verification that it is an overdose. This is what was suspected, but this is the commentary of this said article, The Sun. His manager and founder, of Loud Records, Steve Rifkin, confirmed that the 50-year-old's condition remains unchanged as the family hold out hope. Doctors will perform tests on Mr. DMX, and it was supposed to have been done yesterday to test the level of brain function, which could be critical in determining his chance of recovery. And as I state, he's currently on life support in a coma. There are multiple people with inaccurate information about his well-being, and it is not helpful and productive, Rifkin told NBC News on Tuesday night. Tomorrow, he will undergo further tests on his brain function, and his family will determine what's best from there, he added. Members of his family were able to visit with him on Tuesday night after hundreds gathered outside the hospital in White Plain, New York, where he has been treated since Friday night. DMX is reportedly a Christian and reads the Bible every day. While in prison, he stated that he had a purpose for being there. I came here to meet somebody. Don't know who it was, but I'll know when I see him. And I came here to give him a message. And that message is Jesus loves them. In 2012, he said he had a calling to become an ordained pastor. He is currently a transitional deacon in the Christian church. DMX, real name Earl Simmons, spent his early years at the Mulford Gardens Public Housing Development, the Journal News reports. According to the New York Post, the development no longer exists after it was knocked down in 2009. It was in Yonkers where DMX and his ex-wife Tashira met when she was just 11 years old. They began dating when she turned 18, with the rapper also living in Yonkers at the time. Hello, everybody. The Rough Rider rapper is reported to have rented property in the small town of Teaneck in the late 1990s with his ex-wife. And this is Teaneck, New Jersey. At this home, DMX faced cruelty charges to an animal, mistreatment of more than 13 pit bulls in 1999. I really didn't want to get into reading all this. But anyway, in a plea agreement, he agrees to speak about the animal abuse. That 3-bedroom home sold 2005 for $380,000. Basically, this article just goes on to talk about his investment homes in Harlem, New York. He had, and it went up for auction in 2008 in Harlem, New York. He had a home in Cave Creek, Arizona, 3,700 square foot, 2.2 acres of desert, along with a guest house and horse stables. Sold it in 2008, 5-bedroom, at a loss of $447,056. He originally purchased it for $575,000 in 2003 with his then wife, Tashira. He also had a temporary rental in Lyman, South Carolina. And he lived there for several years. Mercy, did not know that. Then there's a home of Tashira Simmons, Mount Kisco, New York. And it was worth $649,000, purchased in 2000. With Tashira, he shares 4 children, but has 11 children with other women. And at this said home that he shared with her, he could not keep that said home, owed a mortgage on the said house. And it said it was a non-payment of a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, blue panel home. And due to a disagreement of who would pay the mortgage, he lost that said home. And he had to pay back $250,000 in a loan and filed for bankruptcy in 2016, claiming that he owed $2 million. The home was then transferred to LLC, called Tax Your Way in 2019. As I state, it's a lot of things that's just a bit negative in here, and I don't really want to dwell on all these negative things, but I wanted to just recap that he is in not the best situation right now, and we all know that people can come out of comas. It's just a matter of who's going to continue um, keeping that said person on life support and what the doctors recommend to the family, what they should do in this dire situation. DMX endured a traumatic childhood rife with family struggles, with drugs, years before he had the heart attack triggered by an overdose, it says. The hip hop legend known as Rough Rider is currently in a battle for his life in a vegetative state at White Plains Hospital in New York, while friends, family, fans anxiously wait for an update. DMX was born on December 18, 1970, in Mount Vernon, New York, to artists Joe Barker and Arnett Simmons. 2019, he told GQ how his mom beat 2 teeth out of my effing mouth with a broom when he was just 6 in a bombshell interview. In his 2002 autobiography, Earl, the musician, said his dad never called me on my birthday or helped raise me at all, and only came around when he had to sell paintings in New York City. Children don't come with an effing instructional manual, he wrote, noting later that his mom was incapable of looking after him. 4 sisters, I'm the only boy. Maybe she didn't know what to do with me. What does grave condition mean? A grave or moribund condition is used to describe a condition where recovery is not expected. It is used by medical professionals to describe the health of a patient whose condition is thought to be of an emergency nature. The term is also used to describe a disease or illness which is chronic, that is, an ongoing serious condition that leads to premature death if left untreated. It also talks about previous drug addictions. As I stated, I'm not going to go into all of that. But as they say, the family of famed rapper DMX may be forced to make a hard decision today after the results of the test on his brain function are revealed. He remains in a coma and has undergone tests to determine his brain function after staff yesterday sent a powerful message to the crowd of fans and friends gathered outside of the hospital. Hospital staff made an X sign with their arms out the window as some of the famed rapper's 15 children joined the emotional vigil on Tuesday. The music star, whose real name is Earl Simmons, remains in critical condition after suffering a heart attack on Friday night. Citing a source with ET, reported how medics tried to revive him twice in the house and revived him again in the hospital. The insider said this is a very difficult time for the family. They're standing by his bedside, holding his hand and praying. They are really in a prayer mode. And most of you have probably heard that Master P has spoken out to TMZ about DMX, and he told the publication that DMX's hospitalization could have been prevented. Master P called on rappers to create a union. I'm praying for DMX and his family, he said. I feel like hip-hop needs some type of union, he continued. The NBA have it. He called DMX one of a kind. And also LeBron James took to Twitter to say, to one of my favorite artists growing up and still to this day, DMX, my prayers are with you and sent to the almighty heavens above, he wrote. Missy Elliott tweeted, prayers for DMX and his family. Law and Order SVU star and rapper Ice-T wrote, my sincere love and prayers go out to my homie DMX during this difficult time. Pull through, my dude. Singers Kelly Rowland and Machine Gun Kelly both offered the rapper well wishes. Rowland prayed and asked Lord God in heaven to bless our brother DMX. Machine Gun Kelly took to Twitter and said DMX was the first artist I was in an actual studio with. He credited the rapper with helping shape me into who I am. Put healing energy out there for X. He's the last of a dying breed, he wrote. As I state, it goes on just to discuss more of his money situations and what he acquired. And of course, most of you know that he is a musician and an actor. And along his music career, DMX paved his way as an actor, notes the Associated Press. He starred in the 1998 film Belly and appeared in Romeo Must Die a couple of years later with Jet Li and the late singer Aaliyah. DMX and Aaliyah teamed up for the film's soundtrack song, Come Back in One Piece. The rapper also starred in Exit Wounds with Steven Seagal and Cradle to the Grave with Lee. Over the years, he has battled substance abuse, writes the AP. The rapper canceled a series of shows to check himself into a rehabilitation facility in 2019. In an Instagram post, his team said he apologized for the canceled gigs and thanked his fans for their continued support. DMX made a splash in rap music in 1998 with his first studio album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, which debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. The multi-platinum selling album was anchored by several hits, including Rough Riders' anthem, Get At Me, Dog, and Stop Being Greedy. Amen. The rapper had 4 other chart-topping albums, including And Then There Was X, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, The Great Depression, and Grand Champ. He has released 7 albums and earned 3 Grammy nominations. Last year, DMX faced off against Snoop Dogg in a versus battle which drew more than 500,000 viewers. DMX fans thanked for support and prayers. DMX's longtime New York-based lawyer, Murray Richmond, has passed on his family's appreciation during this difficult time. He said that the family of DMX, whose real name is Earl Simmons, appreciates the overwhelming outpouring of heartfelt love, encouragement, support, and prayers for Earl. Earl is someone whose life and music have been a source of inspiration and strength to so many people around the world. It is reassuring to see his fans return that same passion and energy to him during his time of need. And as I state, last weekend, he was rushed to the hospital after collapsing in his home, and he is currently in ICU in critical condition. That is the sad information. Just a little bit, just basic information about his life. But nonetheless, it's just a sad situation pertaining to Earl. As I stated, I don't have verification of what actually happened that led him into the situation. They're saying it's an overdose, but it's sad for him to even be in this situation. And I was trying to make sure I brought up the latest information pertaining to Earl. Here's another article that's saying that he has contracted COVID. And this is by Hot 97. A new development has been reported about his condition. According to Vlad TV, DMX has tested positive for COVID-19. Reportedly, those that are visiting the rapper are being closely monitored, and only a select few have been approved to spend personal time with him. On April 5th, the Rough Riders Rescue Foundation held a vigil for fans and family of X. Thousands of people flooded White Plains Hospital, where DMX is recovering. And that's just a basic information about the COVID. I had no idea about that. And as I stated, I'm just skimming through, trying to bring the latest of information pertaining to an update on Earl. Trying to see. Thank you all so much for joining me. But as I stated, he's currently, they're saying, in a vegetative state. And it's just a very terrible, terrible situation. Hold on just a second. I'm going to bring something else up here. Days ago, let's make sure I brought something that was uploaded a couple of hours ago pertaining to his health. I'm going to see here what this says. Hello. Yes, it is very sad. Okay. As I state, they say he's undergoing tests. This was supposed to happen yesterday on Wednesday to determine the functionality of his brain, but he is still on life support in a vegetative state, excuse me. I just want to make sure I'm bringing everything out. It's not very much that's changed from the information. Most of the articles have the same information. I hope for those of you who are fans of Earl Simmons that you will pray for him, pray for his family, his children. Right now, it has to be excruciating to know that your father can't talk, can't hear you. Hopefully, he can hear, but he can't speak back, say anything about how he's feeling. That's just a terrible thing to have to go to a hospital and not even be able to go in the room due to COVID restrictions. Just very terrible. Hi, Tara, how you doing? Okay. This was uploaded a day ago by TMZ. Of course, most of you know his children flew out. Some of his children flew out to see him in New York. As they said, what could be a final goodbye, but we're going to pray that that's not the step. That possibly he will wake up. That's what I'm hoping. And it's also been complicated by COVID. So it says here in this source that his children will only be allowed to see him one at a time per COVID regulations. His fiancee, Desiree, and his mom have already been there with him. We don't know if the hospital has begun allowing some of the kids into ICU, but that's the plan. Of course, this was days ago. And it was unclear at that time of this article how many children had arrived to see him, but he does have a total of 15 children. But it's safe to assume a good majority will get the chance to see him, especially those who are older and understand the situation. And he is still currently on life support. As I state, this is just a very terrible, terrible situation pertaining to DMX. And it's just hard to even understand how he got to this point. Then there's another piece. I'm just going through all the articles that I held pertaining to the storyline. They also have a photo of his ex-wife sharing an embrace with the current fiance. It says Desiree Lindstorm, Tashira Simmons, as well as the Party Up Here rapper sons Xavier and Exodus are seen joining the crowd and gathering outside the White Plains Hospital in New York. This was days ago. They said both ladies were spotted in the crowd and they had gathered for prayer outside the New York hospital. This was on April 5th, Monday, earlier in the week. They all gathered outside the White Plains Hospital. Let's see. And they have a photo here where the ex-wife is hugging the current fiance, his ex-wife, Tashira Simmons, hugging Miss Desiree Lindstorm. It's very sad. Very, very sad. And looking at the said people in the crowd, obviously devastated, because this is really tragic. Someone that you're used to hearing music from, enjoying their music, seeing them in videos, and to see and to know that they're in this state. It's very disturbing. Very, very disturbing. And that was the sad information from that article. Just trying to bring you the latest information that I can find. I try to look for anything that's like within a couple of hours to keep you abreast on the situation, but I don't think there's no new change pertaining to him. And here's another one I found. Let's see. Thank you all so much. The prognosis in these cases is, I'm afraid, not good, but miracles do happen. Yes, I saw some guy commenting on a page that his wife was in a coma for 3 days, and on the 8th day, she woke up. So see, you never can say when a person will come to. And that's the scary part. You don't want to pull them off the machine and then who knows, they could have woke up the next day, 5 days, 2 weeks later. In the end, it's up to the family to decide what they want to do about, the situation. But as I stated on yesterday, the 7th of April, the family had to make decisions so doctors could perform critical tests on Mr. Earl Simmons and check the level of his brain function. Oh, mercy. It says he remains in a coma. This is by Rolling Out, if you need a verification. Sorry, I forgot to mention the other ones. He was diagnosed as having no lung function and little brain activity when he was placed in the intensive care unit in critical condition at a White Plains, New York hospital. And he is currently on life support in a coma. And as I state, there have been many reports of inaccurate information by people with about his well-being. And as his Mr. Rifkin said, not helpful and not productive. Not productive at all. But yesterday tests were ran, so I'm just going to wait, see what those tests say. And of course, when I get that set information, I will bring you that update. But it's not very much new news pertaining to Earl Simmons. And I'm going to cut this live, but I just want to bring you all an update just to let you know that those of us who care for Earl, who have been fans of his music, his family, friends, community, the world, are hopeful and praying that he pulls through and that he wakes up. And as I state, this is just a troubled place for any human being to be, who's well loved and liked. And it's just sad to me that he's in this situation. Yes, it had to be heartbreaking. Yes. Thank you all. Elwanda, Brianna, Tara, Vala. I thank you all for joining me. I'm just going to pray that he pulls through. I just pray that he pulls through. And I just pray that whatever was going on with Earl, that when God opens his eyes, that he will see that there is a better way. If indeed, this is a drug overdose, then he'll see that there's a better way to deal with problems and life struggles, just the ills of the world. Because I know most people take to narcotics for various reasons. If indeed, as I state, because I don't want to allege anything about drug use, whether he used drugs or not. There's a lot of negativity in these articles that I didn't want to repeat, but I try to skim over them without, making this a tabloid update. But as I state, no matter what you think or what you assume, the man is not awake. And that's the sad part. And he has children and he has family. And in the end, those negatives don't matter. And you can't say hello to the person and they can't say hello back. Praying for Earl Simmons and his children and his family. And when I get more information, I will bring you an update. I want to thank you all for joining me. I will go live a little bit later in the evening. And so stay tuned for Everyday Shenanigans. I will bring you a hot topic on this Thursday night. So you all stay safe out there and God bless all of you. And I'm out of here. Bye.